Hello guys, this is Introduction to Programming. My name is Kenyor and this day two, we let's move on. Let's look at more. We looked at some stuff in our first class. We looked at the fathers of programming, the idea of programming. We looked at syntax and general rules for programming. We also did a touch on making your own operating system, and we said if it's not solving a particular goal, and if you don't have enough funding, you just don't try it, except you want to learn from it. Okay, so we've done a lot of things today. We'll move on. So this program is sponsored by Edu Stipend, and the aim is to make you ready. So today we'll be writing our first Golang code after a lot of, top research. All right, so we're writing our first Golang code today. So first off, why should you learn Go? I just like to present. I know you have a whole pack, and I talked about so many things why you should learn Go. But I just got this from a blog. I felt I should just share with you guys. If you read the very last tag there, the very last paragraph, it is designed and backed by Google, which means it is more useful for production code and management, blah 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 blah. Also, I did not mention in my previous class that Go is open source. Then the very last sentence, if you go down, you discover the last but not the least, Go developers are one of the highest paid developers in the industry, with an average salary of 135,750 US dollars per year. Yeah, that's some really meaningful salary. So yeah, Go developers are paid as high as that, So I just felt I should share this with you, so you know how much you worth when you're trying to get a gig, when you're trying to work out there, so you know your worth, and you don't let guys just roll you down, especially if you learn very well. All right. So let's move on to Go. I just searched installing Go, and we're here in Google. Please visit go.dev. I think that's the very first page. And yeah, so no matter the operating system you're on, Go works very well. Linux, Mac, Windows, and any distro on Linux, Go works just fine. So I'm using Linux, and I'm going straight to running some codes on the terminal. I just download the binary file for Go and export it, add it to my path, so I can call Go from any path, from any part in my terminal, from any directory in my terminal. All right. So yeah, there are a whole lot of release, but I advise you go for the latest so you don't be outdated. All right. So also, if you're using stuff like VS Code, you want to install the Go plugin. That will help you a lot. The Go plugin, I mean this guy, it will help you a lot. There will be more suggestions and stuff like that. You can install most things there relating to Go. So I just want to share an error with you. I kind of documented my entire process, so I'm sharing all this with you. I encountered this set of errors where the Go imports command was not available. The Go outline, and the Go PLS, most of those commands were not available. So if you encounter this kind of commands, all you just have to do is to go install those things. You just need some internet access. Go install. I kind of googled on that, and I ended up in Stack Overflow. So one thing I want to tell us as developers is you have to embrace the community. You have to be in line with the community. Always get info. If you want to learn fast, you have to get touch with the community. In Stack Overflow, in Quora, on Telegram, on WhatsApp, different groups that create the Go bond. You just need to, blend around. Check out Geeks for Geeks and all other places. Also, you may want to try your competitive programming skill in places like LeetCode.com. Check out Cargo 2, also very important. All right, so I think we have talked a lot, so all practical time, guys. All right, so I'm going out of presentation mode and I'm going straight to VS Code, and I'm going to do something interesting today. So this is my directory, as you can see. I'm going to clear this. All right. Okay, so we learned terminal commands in our last class, where we talked about things like cd, we talked about cp, we talked about mkdir, we talked about mv, we talked about cp, so many things that we talked about. So I'd like to share an article with us before we go on. The article is on towards datascience.com. The main aim or the topic of the article was 17 terminal codes every programmer should know. There are a lot of terminal codes, actually, even the scary ones. But yeah, there are few that you should always play around with. I talked about PWD in my last class. I talked about mkdir to make a file. I talked about cd to navigate to that particular directory. I also talked about touch to make the file. I sometimes use nano to do that. I make the file and open it at the same time and then write to the hard disk with control. Oh, all right. So ls, I also use that to list, you know. So as we go down, we also see clear. I used clear just some minutes ago to clear my terminal. mv to move and stuff like grab and use. Two ways. One, I'll directory on the, and then I'll also be doing the code on the terminal, and I'll be running the go stuff and doing some bash stuff. All right. So this is how my GUI looks like. I'm on elementary OS, so I can right click, right, like even the Windows users, and say new as to create a new folder or create a new file, right? And if you go to my VS Code, I'm currently on the same directory, as you can see me now here. I'm currently on the same directory. So for us to list the things in this directory, we can try the ls command. So ls, and we say enter. So if you screw this, now you can see the list of commands there. You can see the listing. All the items here that appeared here are the same items that are this way. Why I'm teaching you this is because as a Go backend developer, you need to understand that when you have a AW instance, you need to find a way to see what is happening without the GUI. So I'm showing you this, and I'm also going to show you more advanced methods. So the first thing we want to do now is to create a folder where we'll be running our first Go code. It's going to be really amazing. So still in this directory, we're just going to create a folder, and we'll say mkdir. Let's call the folder's name Go Experience, of that nature. All right. And then immediately you look here, you can see the new folder we have just created here. So I did that on terminal. If you're using Windows, Linux, Mac, I think we're all good. So far as you have navigated to the right directory where you want all of those changes to be done. So now the next thing is I want to navigate into this directory, right? So I can create my Go file. Okay, so the next thing I'll do is to cd into the Go experience itself. This is synonymous to going to your GUI. See Go experience. What I'm about to do, and the file opens. So that's what I'm about to do now here. The terminal. So experience, and I click enter. All right. So now if we press the ls command and we press enter, you see nothing appears to show that that particular folder is totally empty. So what we want to do now is to create a file inside this new folder we have made. Now if you look everywhere, you can see the folder is empty. The folder. So what we want to do now is to create a file using the touch command. Let's call first code.go. Now remember that files you see with the .go Go files, very simple. .php file, .py Python files, .cpp C++ files, there are so many. But if you know the extension of a file, you should know how it should be run. All right, so I say touch the first code, and yeah, these are touch.first code. As you can see, it's happening. Yeah, this first Go. Yeah, makes a lot of sense. Now, the first thing we want to do in Go programming, as I said before in my previous class, Go is all made up of packages. Everything is packages, 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 packages. I feel like rapping with the word packages now. All right, so we just say package main. Yeah. Okay. Some of these uh, package to a main. Then when I say import, that's like the formatting standard that I need to use for Go to work properly. All right, so like most one of the things that are wrong is your main function. I hope we're not making any mistake. We want to cover something on screen and say all right, is that good? All right, so yeah, I think that's good. Now when we say ls in this directory, we see the file there. That's so now we want to run this directory using Go. Now, and if you check your Go, let's see what happens. Just type in Go alone. Yeah, we see a whole lot of pop-up, and we can actually scroll in there to see what's up. Okay, so more importantly, what happens when we say Go version. So we have installed here one of the latest as of today, the 21st. I, I think that is correct. Yeah, it's today 21st, 25th. Yeah. So yeah, so we have installed one of the latest versions as at April 2023. So what we want to do right now is to run our code, right? So we're on the terminal. Now it's easy for some people. You may have some play button somewhere you just click, but I'm trying to show you what the play button does in the background. So when we say go run, then we're going to call the name of our file first .go, and we say, oh, I'm having a capital C there, so I have to change that. All right, to run. All right, that's it. So you can terminal here, hello world, and the hello world is that. So yeah, let's try to play around with this. Let's say this times 50. All right, and see what happens. It gives us exactly this. Now there's an overflow technique or an overflow issue in C++. So I'm going to really try a very high number to see what happens, you know, to just on my terminal. It worked, right? School languages. Sorry, please. It's families. So yeah, and Go makes it extra. Let's try to see if we can create a variable and then perhaps print out that variable. You know, let's call this the number. Okay, and let's call this, right? Now you see the error there. Let's say this is an integer, right? Okay, so it's underlined because we declared it and not used. So let's just copy it out here. to run our code. I've just shown you here declaring a variable to that variable. So as I explained the location, so we have created a memory location and given it a name called the number, and we've given it a data type of integer, and we assign 20 to it. So let's see how we can perform simple multiplication and addition. So let me call this the second num, and see multiply the second num. Many programs like that. Go kind of provides a formatting text. You can print a whole lot of stuff using this standard approach of printing in Go. So yeah, that's the answer. So if you have any problem with running simple Go code, I think my job here is done. If you have any issue running simple Go code, let's talk on the group. Let's talk on our group. We're always here to help. The idea is to make sure that you understand the basic stuff, variable creation, light stuff, and the rest. Yeah, so from my end, guys, I'm so happy to take you through this. Thank you very much, the Stupends. Thank you, everybody who has made this possible. I really appreciate all of you. We'll see in more advanced line, of course. Thank you very much, guys.